What is up, everybody? This is Zach coming at you live from East Texas. This is the Three Guys, One Bullet podcast. I'd like to start this roll by introducing that we do have a Facebook page. We do have a YouTube. So if you want to follow us, please look for us on YouTube at 3G1B Podcast or 3G1B.pc@gmail.com, as well as SoundCloud and Podbean. So if you'd like to follow us, that's where we'll be mostly posting our stuff from now on. But I got the boys with me here today. Guys, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves back here? What's your names?
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Shawn.
So guys, today I wanted to talk about first and worst experiences with guns, with gear. It could be anything like that you maybe want to talk about or have had an experience. I'm sure that the listeners probably want to know, Taylor, that there's been some developments in your Glock Polymer 80 process.
Right.
You said you'd been grinding on it or whatever, so you want to go ahead and give us an explanation of what's going on there?
Yeah, what I did is, kind of that project's been on the back burner while everything else I've had in life going on. So, the podcast the other night kind of got me going back into it. So
it got you pissed off again.
Yeah, it got me pissed off enough to work on it, yeah. Because I have a gun sitting there I can't even shoot. So what I did was on these Polymer 80s, they have a locking block cast piece, so
it's maybe at least aluminum.
No, it's steel. No, it's steel. It's hardened steel. And it's your locking block for your bolt
with your rails,
or for your barrel, and basically your slide rail for your Glock. And so what I did was I disassembled the whole gun. I took that whole locking block and I stoned it. I took like a honing stone and I sat there and I honed every contact point and it smoothed it up. The slide will just slide right on it. It's slick. It's a lot smoother.
Did you see? Was it the overall width
or
the thickness of the rail?
On the left side, the left side rail was out of it was out of specs. It was
maybe out of square.
It was not square. No.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's probably what it was.
I sat there and dicked with it for a while. So I got it assembled, went back, started trying to test fire, and I'm still having the same issues. Next issue I'm going to look at is I bought a Faxon barrel for this Glock build, and it has a match grade barrel on it.
Right.
And I have read rumors on the internet that they undercut their chambers. So
I think it's a little snug.
I think, yeah, that's what I'm starting to think.
But you've had problems with the finish on that barrel as well.
Not the barrel, it was on the slide.
On the slide, that's right.
No, that's supposed to be taken care of, but I'm not really worried about it at this point. I just want a functioning firearm.
Oh, absolutely.
You definitely want to get what you paid for.
That's what would you call it? The chameleon colored slide?
No, that's not on the slide. The slide is a lone wolf, and it's like it's not like a Serica. It's like is it DLC or it's some kind of metal finish. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's been a long day.
It kind of changes colors and everything, but it's completely coming off.
It's flaking, like freckling off. And they said that's not normal. I need to send it in. I'm not really worried about it.
Now that's not Polymer 80. That's the manufacturer of your slide. I want to be clear on who.
It's a lone wolf slide, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a very quality slide. Like I said, stainless steel slide. I'm not worried about it. It's cosmetic, but I plan on having that gun running it pretty rough anyway. So
there could be like a chemical thing. Like sometimes there's oil in your hands can actually do something.
I actually thought about that and talked to some people about it, and it seems like every time that I touch that finish with my hands, it starts freckling.
Right. There's got to be something.
Like I said, I'm not worried about that. I kind of want a cycling gun, so the next thing I'm going to do is look at the barrel, and I might start swapping it out. Might just get another brand barrel for shits and giggles and see what.
You just strip mine down and try it out and see what you get out of it.
Yeah,
I might like your barrel better, anyways.
Right, but if it's got a tight chamber, I don't know if I want to spend the money to get the chamber reamed out or.
Try it with a Dremel,
No,
see where
that is the internet gun solution of the year. Try it with a Dremel.
Hey, watch a video on YouTube. You got this. You're a gunsmith, man.
No.
Gunsmith. Love that.
No. So, yeah, like I said, this kind of comes into the first and worst. It was my first.
Building your own firearm.
Right. And it wasn't so bad. It's just kind of working through the little
Like
issues.
the minutiae of getting it running and
right.
things like that.
Which is a little disappointing because he was really pumped about it, which is what got me. I think we were both at dinner one night and you were like, hey, they're on sale, let's do it. And so we both jumped online at the same time and started ordering parts.
Yeah.
Got them in, and I mean, we were pretty much well in line with each other the whole time, and then his just started having issues, from the slide not coming in and showing up at all to
the whole debacle with Optics Planet and things like that.
Yeah. Fuck Optics Planet.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, they can't even send me the right shit, or ever send me
We're
shit.
still having issues with that?
No, I'm done with them.
Oh, you're just done with them?
just give up, walk away.
Yeah, but it's still a work in progress with everything.
Well, sometimes, for instance, I've had things that I haven't touched for years that I'll have, and I'll just look at it one day, like that pellet gun. I've probably disassembled that pellet gun like 3 times because I'll have it in one form that I like, and then I'll think, oh, I'm going to do something else with it. Like I 3D modeled a back end part for it that I said, oh, I got really excited for it. I made the model, and I'm gonna find somebody that does 3D parts. And then I found them, and then I called them one time, but the pandemic happened, and I haven't ever gone and seen them. So it's just parts of it are in my truck, parts of it are in the closet, parts of it, are everywhere. And at one time, I had it back when I lived in Jacksonville. When I lived in there, I had broke off the front side, and I had left it in there left it in that back bedroom for years, thinking, oh, I'm gonna saw off that barrel one day. I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna do that, and I just never did until I moved to Mount Pleasant.
Never got around to it.
I'm using that as an example of things that you never got around to. That's not something that you really care about.
That's just like I bought an M1 Grand, and I mean it's a basket case gun. It was one of these ones that somebody had cut down.
It's a bastard child.
It's a bastard. Yeah, it is. It's been rode hard. It's one of these ones that somebody cut down like 18 inches to a tanker.
Right.
Version.
But
They fell out the ugly tree and hit every leg.
Yeah, the stock is beat to shit with brass nails and tack
It
pairs
sounds
on it.
more like a crime against humanity.
It is a crime. The operating rod is bent to fuck, and every screw on there is boogered up.
But you got a good deal on
I got a
that
good
pawn
deal.
shop.
So my plans are either I can restore it to its original glory, or I'm really, really looking at doing a BM59. That's the Italian version of, and anybody that doesn't know, the BM59, Italy, after the war, we supplied them with a bunch of M1 Grands, and a part of their modernization program for the M1 Grand was to convert it over to 308. It takes a box-fed magazine, and they did some other updates to it, and in my opinion, they improved it better than what the U.S. did with the M14.
Well, when you think Italian's better, I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean,
I bet. I wouldn't be going around saying that in some circles. Some people actually hate the Italian-made M9s and things like that. But yeah, you had mentioned that on the last time that you might be doing that, and that might be a good way to go because I mean, as bad as you say that it is, maybe a FUD got a hold of it and just.
I know that it was popular to sell. There's so much surplus in the 50s and 60s that
they were cheap.
They were cheap. So one thing that these companies did was cut them down and sell tanker versions of them.
Right.
That's not the case anymore.
It's just got a lot of problems. I think the op rod bent. There's a guy up north, I think in Minnesota, Smurfs Parkerizing, and he does M1 Grand restoration. I have a gunsmith down here, he'll do M1 Grand restoration. It's just like I said, these are all back burner projects. I mean, I got Remington Model 11s project guns I want to work with. I got a whole pile of project guns.
I think everybody, if you're not into guns and you don't have at least one working project gun, there's something wrong.
Right.
I feel like everybody's a little bit of a tinkerer when it comes down to it. You're looking at Shawn. What's up, Shawn?
What do I have?
Do you have any project guns?
Everything's a project. I mean, once you get it and you get started, and then you change your mind.
Well, I'm not
Just
talking
kinda
about changing the front rail on an AR-15.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I've got a couple of old H&R 22s break open from the top and stuff like that I need to really sit down and focus on, but I haven't done it yet. I mean, I think the most extensive thing I've done lately is
depressed. Just saying.
They're passion projects.
They are, yeah. You know,
I think everybody's got a few of those.
Get around to it projects, but
right.
I put Loctite on the polymer 80 build the other day to keep the front side up there, and
right.
So that's about the extent.
Now I don't know if y'all do this, but sometimes I'll go through phases of getting like really excited about like this one particular thing. Like I have this idea in my head, and I can't get it out until I've made it and done it. And often a lot of times after I've done it, I just put it in the closet.
Well, my last build, I bought a Pelican case, and I was looking at the case, realizing that literally no gun I had fit in it unless I put about 12 pistols in it.
Right.
So that's what I just was like, yeah, I guess I need to build
You
a
just gave
blackout
yourself
pistol. Yeah, I need to build a gun to fit this case because, I mean, why not, right?
That might be the worst reason in history.
Hey.
I bought a case.
It was a good enough reason.
No,
It was
any
on
reason's
sale.
a good
It was
reason.
on sale.
You're starting to act like a woman now. It's on sale.
Well, yeah.
It's my Jewish roots.
Oh, don't get racist stuff in there.
Well, and I'm not a big advocate for bubbing firearms. And that's where you take a military firearm and sporterize it, and that's supposedly supposed to make it better. I'm not a big advocate on that, but if I get like a stripped Mauser receiver, I actually have.
You can do a lot with that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, sky's the limit on you just
Well, all
build
the
what you
small
want.
rings, though, they're not so favorable for doing rifle conversions on.
I've got that 1891
Right.
Argentine, and it's almost perfect if somebody hadn't cut an inch and a half off the end of the barrel for whatever reason. Why you would take that much off,
Well,
I don't know, but
You can save it. I mean,
well, yeah.
you can make something cool. Like I took one of the Spanish Mausers I had, and I got a 45 ACP barrel and conversion
I've
kit.
seen those.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. And then another Spanish Mausers, and like I said, these are these small ring Mausers. This one's actually was chambered in 308, and it came to me just a barreled receiver. And it's a hacked together carbine. I think it's got a Swedish Mauser stock, and it's just hacked together. It's just a hack job. And it's got the Mojo rear sight. It's like a peep sight on the rear. I have that laying around.
I wonder, honestly, you see a lot of triggered people on the internet seeing a lot of what Bubba did
Right.
and go nuts on it. But how many of those were from like maybe a busted gun or a parts kit? They were just like,
Right.
you know,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I'm
Well,
going to make something cool out
Yeah,
of
my
it.
stock cracked, so hey, I'm gonna cut it down, whatever.
Or a lot of people brought home duffel cut guns from the war. Like, so the duffel cut is where GIs would take like let's say they had a German Mauser, and to make it be able to fit in their pack,
back.
they
Yeah.
would cut the stocks down.
Wherever that fell out at.
Right.
Don't you have a 10 gauge project?
Oh, I mean, dude,
That's the one I'm interested in because I
It's-
want to see you shoot it when you're done with it.
I've shot it.
But not once you cut it down.
Yeah, I have a 10 gauge single shot H&R. You've seen it.
Yes, I have.
I think the barrel was 36 inches.
Yeah, it's
And
like it's like one of those old timey duck guns that obliterate the sky.
Right, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
barrel looks like a piece of like heavy walled pipe.
Pipe. Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, exactly.
I cut it down to legal. I think I cut it down 18 and a half, like, or 18.6, and then shot it. And then to make it more shorter and painful to shoot, I cut the forearm down, and I'm planning on reshaping it. And I cut the stock. I think I cut 2 inches off the stock. So I have a short single shot handheld
10 gauge.
cannon. Yeah, number 2 steel shot out of a 3.5 inch 10 gauge with an 18-inch barrel. That's painful.
Well, I mean, for that matter, I've got that 3.5 inch Magnum, and it's semi-auto, and what you ended up with a black eye shooting that thing.
Well, this one has, and I got some buckshot for it, and it's 3.25.
You found some buckshot,
Yeah, I have
10 gauge.
It's a 3.5 inch Magnum buckshot.
Oh,
It
nice.
has 18 pellets,
Jeez.
where a 12 gauge has 9.
Yeah.
This has 18.
Well, it depends. You can get it in 8 or 9 pellet.
This has got 18 pellets in it.
That's crazy.
So
That's a lot of lead
I think
going
that's
down
your
there.
new duck gun for this year. I think you should take it out, and we'll do a little duck hunting.
no, what I really want.
Go squirrel hunting with
It's
that.
kind of like
yes.
a Mad Max wrong house motherfucker hallway gun, you know?
The entire hallway.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
You could, with 18 pellets, 18-inch barrel, you could
Screw the
What's
walls,
the spread on that
pictures, and
thing? Have
everything.
you taken it out and like patterned that?
I don't know if you can shoot it consistently enough to pattern it.
I think that's a good range day test, and I think we definitely need to get that on the books.
That sounds like something that I would. That might be going into a film right there.
Yeah, that'd be worth a video.
Yeah.
If y'all want to see a video, let us know.
If anybody wants to see anything, let us know anything. We're kind of, I know we're new, but we're not getting a whole lot of responses just yet. So if anybody wants to us to talk about anything on the podcast, or you've had a personal experience you want to say, or a comment that you want to say, please let us know. We'll definitely share it. We love to talk about stuff like that. We want an engaged audience, please.
If you're curious about a gun, I'm pretty sure between the three of us, we can probably either have it or tell you a little more about it.
Oh, definitely.
Before you buy it.
The internet exists, and that's an interesting thing. You put that on that rabbit. You should always do your research.
Oh, yeah.
Before you buy a gun. There's so many good things about about modern technology that we have today that we take so for granted. I would never just roll into a pawn shop and buy something without doing at least a tiny smidgen of research, because you just don't know what you're getting. You might be getting a great deal, or you might just be getting boned. You just need to do something.
I know a lot of people, their main question is budget rifle, right?
Right.
I know it's a little off topic, but budget rifle, and everybody's
We're down
like,
a rabbit now.
yeah, we've already started it. So, everybody's like, oh, Ruger American, or Savage 110, or Thompson's, what's their
Thompson Center?
Compass, I think.
Yes.
Ryan, you're talking about like $200 rifle.
I've seen a comparison of all of those.
Yeah.
And they're pretty competent rifles, with the Ruger edging out
just a little bit
slightly for the value and for the price.
I think you pay a little more for the Ruger. I know I bought one stainless steel in 22-250, and then I kind of upgraded to my CZ model 550 in 22-250. But I like the Ruger because it was about 8 pounds lighter than that CZ is. But to each their own. But
You're talking about rifles. I like that. Was that 22 mag all weather you have?
that was actually my first rifle that I got.
Which will lead us into exactly where we wanted to go. So you can go ahead and start talking about that. That is a sweet gun.
It is.
That is a good story too. That's a perfect example of what I wanted to do this about. Tell us the story of that 22.
Full circle.
Full circle. So that was basically my first, when I got into guns, I'm gonna have a gun, I'm going out and buying a gun, and I found that Zytel stock Hawkeye 77 22 Magnum, and I bought it. I had it for several years. I love that gun, and I let a buddy of mine, not Taylor but another one, talk me out of it, and so I ended up getting a Ruger GP 100 and a few $100 cash for my 22 Magnum. It was a good trade. I was happy.
I'm describing that gun. It is beautiful, by the way. I think it's a really cool, aesthetically looking gun. Very light gun.
Yes, you don't see a lot of them at all.
I've literally,
with the stainless steel, and then the Zytel stock, which you can't hardly find anyways, and when you do find it, it's normally black on black. They have those inserts. Mine's black on forest green inserts, and
really good.
That's from the factory. Nobody spray painted that on there or anything. So, but I ended up actually getting it back from him a couple of years ago. I built a AR-15 off of a Spikes blower and a few other things. It was a nice AR, but I got back in touch with him. He had never shot the gun, still had all the ammo I gave to him for it and everything. And I was like, let me get that back. I'll give you this AR. And we swapped back. And so I finally got my original 22 Magnum back, my first little rifle that I
Are there any
started my habit.
Are there any seminal stories about that gun that just in your mind you go back to, like you were hunting a squirrel or you were going hog hunting?
I think I did actually go squirrel hunting with you with it one time.
Okay.
I think it might have been your brother.
It was probably
but
my brother.
It's been a while. But
I don't think I've ever gone with you, to be honest.
That was
Probably
like
my brother.
shoot, I think that was the last time I had taken that gun out before I ended up getting rid of it, and I always kicked myself in the ass after I got rid of it. I was like, I wish I still had that thing.
Seller's
But
remorse.
it was, and it was at that time, I don't know if y'all remember, but you could not find 22 Magnum ammo anywhere. You couldn't find 22 ammo. It was horrible, you know.
That was
back
probably
in
around 2013.
Yeah, I was gonna say 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there. It didn't bother me at the time. Then afterwards, you could go get the ammo everywhere again, and for a minute, yeah. But I said I'm happy to have it back. It's got its own little place. It definitely won't be leaving the safe again to get traded off like a redheaded stepchild.
Right. You were mentioning that you're going to pass that down to your son, and with the way it seems to want to stay in your family.
Yeah, it definitely wants to hang around. I
I
think he'll enjoy it and grow into it a little more, but I think he'll enjoy it. I think it's a great first rifle. It's extremely accurate, and
that was a gun my dad got me when I was 22. Actually, Cordero my dad ended up selling that gun to Cordero. He still has it. Technically, I could go still buy it. It's been with him longer than it's been with my family now.
Right.
So, I mean, it's more his gun than mine at this point. But it's weird how that worked out, how my dad sold it to him, and it was my first rifle, but it's been with him longer. So there's no point in me getting it back.
What was your first one, Taylor?
Well, I mean, there's several firsts for me. I mean, there's like...
I almost feel like yours wasn't just an individual purchase.
No,
Your first was like a three-way. You walked in and bought 3 or 4 guns. At the same time.
No.
Shawn, you're getting in trouble if you don't.
I mean, we could start with my daddy had a single shot 22 that I learned to shoot with. You know, it was, I wouldn't say mine personally, it was kind of, I learned to shoot with it. You know, believe it or not, I've killed pretty much everything and anything with it. It's just a single shot Sears and Roebuck 22. It's got 11 butt stock. He had it. He actually traded it off to a guy to coon hunt. He took it, and I got it back from this guy, so it's back with me. The first gun that I actually received was my uncle gave me and my brother both Rossi single shot rifles, and it was like the match set where it was the 243 20 gauge combo youth models. So we both have identical guns. I never really shot the 243 much, so that barrel's like pristine, never been shot. The 20 gauge, it's got a good workout with me growing up. I mean, my size, how big I am, I mean, I can literally shoot that thing one-handed. And I used to shoot it one-handed off the four-wheeler shooting hunting hogs with a single shot 20 gauge. Where I live, we catch the hogs at like a cow feeder, get them to all bunch up at the fence. And there's actually some photos of me, I think, from my teenage years with a bunch of hogs with that single shot 20 gauge. I mean, we didn't have ARs, we didn't have, you know, high-powered rifles. I was just damn country kid with a damn 20 gauge, and I made good work out of it. My first rifle that I bought was a Yugo Mauser. It's the M2447. And what made me buy it was there was a grocery store and there were some old guys from a VFW and they had one they were raffling off. I was just amazed. My mom and dad, I think they bought a couple raffle tickets and gave to me. I didn't win that gun.
But you wanted it bad enough, you found it.
Yeah, that was like when I was 14. So when I was like 15, this was kind of like in the dying ages of the golden age of surplus. I either had a choice to get a Yugo SKS for $125 or this Yugo 8mm Mauser for $125. So I got the Mauser because that's what my interests were. I still have it. I thought about bringing it today, but it's just so getting it pulled out and
dust blown off of it.
I don't have any dust on it. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice gun, and since then I've gotten several other guns, you know, Mausers
that are kind of more.
They're nicer representations of that, but no, this is a good gun. I've used it deer hunting with it. Shot coyotes with it, shot hogs with it, iron sights, you know.
See, I think I got started too later than both of you because, like I said, I mean, you were on a farm, you're out in the country. I grew up in Dallas, so I didn't buy that Ruger all-weather until I was 20, I guess, was when I finally bought and kind of started getting into them. So I'm a little behind on Taylor there.
Kind of, you might be, but I'm kind of maybe not even that far behind you because I grew up around that.
Yeah.
My dad and
you had the availability to go hunting. I know they would.
But I had no interest in guns, in hunting, in any of that when I was when I was a little kid and when I was a teenager. Because when I would go with my dad, I would never see anything. Nothing would ever happen when I went hunting. It was boring. Nothing, you know, that's part of the reason to getting kids into it is it's got to be fun. You know, I always had fun sort of, you know, shooting 22s and 22 Magnums and stuff.
Well, that's the
when I
same
was a
way you
kid.
get your wife, your significant other.
Right,
You got to make it fun, or they're not going to be
mean,
interested in going.
There's, we can talk about the whole culture of, people, gatekeeping, I guess you could say, and not having it be fun. But I was never interested. The thing that turned me around, I would say, was when I took my hunter safety course license with my dad and my brother. It turned my perception around, and I was like, well, I can kind of go off on my own. But one of the first times I went with my first gun, which was probably a lot of people's first gun, which is a 12 gauge pump action shotgun. My brother and my dad were going bow hunting, and I couldn't shoot a deer, but I was, pseudo hunting hogs. You're just going out there to look, really. This was bow season, and there was nothing for me to hunt. So I was out there and had a deer come lay down in front of me, and I seen my first animal out in the wild. And I'm
Did you shoot it with the shotgun?
No, I didn't shoot it, Shawn.
Statute limitations are off of that. So.
No, I didn't shoot it. I just watched it, and I was like, "Wow, that's beautiful. That's a cool animal."
Wish I could kill it.
feeling.
Pretty much. That's exactly
Yeah, I know.
what was
There
thinking.
is a
It's
dichotomy.
beautiful. I'd like to eat you. You would be delicious fried.
Hey, look, I didn't say it was a good thing, but I thought it was a beautiful animal. I thought, it was like an empowering thing to see an animal out in the wild and not be seen by it, and to just watch it in its natural setting, and to get. It's the time that nature took a hold of me, where I was like, I get it now. I understand why I want to do this. That started the seed that was planted. That's like, okay, and then the next seed that was planted, ironically, probably Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh,
Well, that's an interesting topic to start with guns, because that's where a lot of people nowadays
They get
into firearms, because at an
Yeah.
early age you're playing first-person shooters or stuff like that.
It's not that you're going hunting. You're playing Black Ops
And
or
they're
whatever. You're like,
fun.
oh, hey, that Galil is awesome. I want one. So,
Exactly.
You want to go out and shoot something like that, or build something yourself and
Yeah.
recreate those Call of Duty guns. I totally agree. That's how I got into guns. Wanting Mausers and stuff, playing like Medal of Honor.
and stuff.
oh yeah, going way
Medal of
back,
Honor, yeah. I've always was just
Duke Nukem, it was pixelated
right.
But it all starts from
somewhere. Yes, definitely.
Like I grew up around it, but I wasn't really interested in it until I got it for myself.
And I think there's different levels. You have your first. I still have my first pistol that I bought, which was a Springfield XDM 3.8, and that was. I got that thing as soon as they came out with them, and I loved it. Probably got 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 rounds through that thing. I've shot the hell out of it. I dropped it out of the boat and jumped in the river to go get it back. I'm partial to that gun, but it shoots every time.
Right.
And so you got your first pistol, you got your first rifle, and then your first suppressor, and then your first.
We're still waiting on the first suppressor.
Yeah, and your first full auto, and just it builds over time. And what was your first pistol?
A Dan Weston 357. Yeah.
That's a nice pistol to start with.
Yeah,
Shoot.
and that's another gun I would like to get refinished, because it was a rough around the edges. I think I paid $180 from a guy.
That's not a bad deal. So
yeah,
I'm sure
it's
it
got
was kind of rough. Yeah,
It's not rough. It shoots phenomenal. I had done some unbelievable shit with that gun. It had a 6-inch barrel, but man, it's smooth shooting. It has Packmeyer grips. It is amazing. I don't have the pictures anymore, but I shot a hog. It ran across me and my dad on our gator one night when we were checking cows. Hog ran across us about 20 yards. I shot that hog running, and it fell over. I was aiming for the head, and I hit it right in the eyeball, directly in the eyeball.
Sounds like a good shot.
I'm partial to XDM. I think the other gun that I'm really partial to, and it's not necessarily anything special, but it's the one I lost the other day, my Beretta that I couldn't find. I can't remember where I put things in the safe, apparently. But
Well, it's okay to have too many that you can't find.
Right.
I just knew something wasn't in its spot. Okay.
One thing I've also learned too, and I've had to do this, don't get married to them. Guns, you buy stuff because you want it and you like it, but I myself have had times where I've had to take them and sell them because I needed money. I had a Ruger M77 270. Loved it. That thing was a tack driving some guns.
Well,
But I had to sell it. I was 20 years old and my brakes went out on my truck. I needed money.
You needed brakes.
So, yeah.
So sometimes there's just not a whole lot that you can do, and they are an investment.
They are an investment.
You're buying, yeah. I mean, you're not going to take it all with you.
No.
And there's some of them that, you know, you come across a really good deal. It's not necessarily a gun you want, but you can't pass up that deal. Why not get it and flip it or whatever you want to do with it? But there's been guns I've wanted, really wanted bad, and I've got them and been excited and gone and shot them.
They ain't done shit for you.
And it just, absolutely nothing. And I turn around and sell them, you know. And, you know, there's guns you really want to like. And then there's other ones you buy and you have absolutely no intent on keeping them. And you shoot them one time, you know, it's my thing. If I get it, I'm going to shoot it before I get rid of it.
Right.
And you fall in love with it. And you're like, hey, I'm going to hold on to this one. I think I've got something else I'd rather get rid of.
Right. They're a good investment. They're a solid investment because you can always get what you paid for it or always more.
Yeah, it's not like your, you know, shoes that your wife bought that, you know, in 6 months, there's no retention value in any of that stuff.
Well, you're getting into trouble territory there.
I'm always in trouble.
I'm just giving y'all a time.
Worst gun for you, Zach?
Worst gun so far, I don't know if this is the gun's fault. My first pistol, and I've really only had 2 at this point because I'm not really that far into pistol. I mean, I've got pistols in air quotes that are rifle caliber pistols, but as far as pistol caliber pistols, I've only had really 2.
Right.
I've had a PT-92, which is the Taurus-made version of the Beretta M9 or M92, whatever you want to call that. Depends on what you want to call it. And
I'm going to call it the 92 because that's what I have.
92, the M9, wherever, you know. For the most part, it functioned well-ish. I couldn't hit anything with it. There's something off with the sights on that gun, or the barrel on that gun, because I upgraded it to an EFK Fire Drag extended match grade barrel that was threaded. And for a long time, I just kept that in there. But after a while, I started having issues with the gun not kicking around out, and for a long time, every time I'd go out and shoot it, failure to eject every time out of that barrel, and I'd swap the old Taurus barrel in and it would function, but I couldn't hit anything with it. I'd swap the EFK Fire Dragon barrel into it and I could hit with it, but I couldn't.
So you had an accurate single shot.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the Glock
That's
thing.
like
Was it
the
a match grade barrel?
Yes.
I think there's something.
It's
with
just
the
a
match.
tight tolerance.
Yeah, I think that because I shot when I took that gun to my concealed carry class, and I concealed carried it for a long time. I would have only had one shot, but not one shot. It would go through like maybe 5 rounds, and then on that 6th round, it would just get hung up, and I'd have to drop the mag, clear the ejection, and re-rack, and
good
put
practice.
the slide. Yeah, I mean, it was good practice. I shot the second best in my class with it when I took it to concealed carry class, but it would not be reliable. And finally, I just got tired of it, and I was like, look, I contacted EFK Fire Dragon. They were on the legit. They were gonna, send it back into us. We'll fix it, things like that. But I always kept postponing it. I never got around to sending it in. And finally, I just got tired of it. I was like, man, I'm so sick of dealing with this thing. So I took it up to Mount Pleasant right before I left, and I took it up to a guy up there, and I was like, look, I got this extended magazine, I got this holster, this pistol comes with an extended threaded barrel, it's match grade, it comes with the stock barrel, it's got all these parts and pieces and stuff with it. I just want to get this and trade it for something. And I got a Ruger single action 22 that's long rifle and magnum, and that's been a great shooting gun. Like I've not regretted trading that gun because I could actually hit with it. I've had fun with it. I don't regret giving that gun away for what I did. And it was an even trade. I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't want no paperwork. I just want, here, give me that gun. I'm done with it.
I've been thinking about upgrading the barrel on my Beretta. The same thing, pretty much. I'd like to.
See, I kind of wish I'd have held on to the barrel because the barrel was interchangeable.
Yeah, that barrel goes on a 92 or Taurus, whatever. It doesn't matter any variant. But I've kind of been thinking about getting a threaded barrel for the 92. It's a nice gun. I like it. It shoots fantastic. I haven't got no complaints about my Beretta one, but I think it would look good with a suppressor for sure.
How about your worst gun?
My worst gun?
Yeah.
That's a tough one because I've had extremely good luck with pretty much everything I've got. I think about the only thing that I've bought that just I never would group, wouldn't matter, and I don't think it was necessarily. I didn't expect a lot of it. I don't know. You're familiar with the Kiapa 1911-22?
Yes,
It's
they make a
real
92 version of that.
Yeah, but it's real similar to the SIG 1911-22. I mean, they're almost identical. You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that gun. It didn't matter, what kind of ammo you put in it, whatever. It just wasn't happening. And I swapped it. I did an even trade for a Remington 1100, so I was happy.
Right.
Which then I ended up trading for a Browning 20 gauge. What was that? That was a Browning semi-auto 20 gauge silver or something, which was really nice. So overall, I mean, I was happy with what I ended up with, but I went from that 22 to a 20 gauge.
Right.
Well, I mean, is there something? I mean, let's say your worst gun, but let's say you had high expectations for it. You bought it, you shot it, and you got rid of it quick.
Oh, there's been a lot that I've gotten rid of quick. Not necessarily because they didn't shoot good, but I had
They just didn't flip your skirt.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been some of those. Well, I bought a Browning 25-06 the other day. I still have it. It's for sale if anybody wants it. But it's got a nice Leopold scope. Gun's dead on. Shoots great at 225 yards. No problems all day. I just don't like it. I had high hopes. I've been wanting a 25-06. I bought it. I'd rather shoot my 308 or something, honestly. And I think the only other one that I was kind of disappointed in was Kaos Customs AR-10. I had higher expectations for it, but it won't feed soft nose ammo. That's a common problem with the AR-10. I was just really hoping for what I had in that gun that it would do it anyways. But, it happens. I'll just run some Winchester, XPs with that polymer tip on there, and they feed fine. And it's a great shooting gun. It's very accurate.
You wish you didn't have to specialize in the ammo.
And I guess that's not that big of a stretch. I can't shoot soft points in the damn thing. I mean, I'm just being picky at that point.
I thought about this with one of the, I would say probably one of the worst guns, and you see them all the time if you think about it, and you see them in pawn shops, you see them at gun shows, and it's the Remington 742 Woodmasters.
Mm-hmm. Semi-auto ones?
My dad actually had a 308 version of that gun.
They are, in my opinion...
You're about to piss some people off.
I don't know. They have a lot of issues, man. You look at them.
Well, I mean, you've seen what's going on with Remington as of late with all the just terrible stuff that's going on.
Well, that's now. These are older guns.
Yeah.
These are.
Well, they've been
but at the same time,
for a while.
I had one that was a 742 Woodsmaster carbine in 30-06, and it had a 18-inch barrel.
If it came down to price wasn't a problem, I would buy a bar before I bought that. The Browning semi-auto all day long before I bought a wood.
Right.
That's just me.
Well, now with the modern guns, I mean, AR-10 platform's kind of like your bread and butter for.
Yeah.
So what happened with that? I mean, you were going into it, but you didn't finish the story.
I got it where, and it didn't have the original magazine. It had like a 10-round plastic magazine with it, and it would shoot, but it would have a lot of functioning issues, and the accuracy on it was it would pattern more than it would group. But I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of times that could be that polymer magazine was giving you some issues.
It was, but I mean, it was one of them guns you got because you thought they were cool and they just had to go down the road.
I ran into that with my Tommy gun. I bought a Thompson.
They're too heavy.
13 pounds unloaded, and then you put a 100-round drum on that
They're
thing.
too fucking heavy.
You're getting close to 20 pounds.
Yeah, 18. But awesome looking. I was all about that, when I got it, and then I shot it, and it was fun to shoot. It has absolutely no practical purpose whatsoever other than a range toy, period.
No, I've shot full auto Thompsons. I've shot, like the original Tommy gun, like the auto ordnance. I've also shot like the World War II models. The one you had was specifically made semi-auto.
Yes, yeah.
16-inch barrel for a consumer.
Granted, I got a fantastic deal on it. I didn't give anything for the gun, but...
Yeah, the full auto ones with their weight and their balance with the shorter barrel.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, God,
definitely.
It's nice.
They're fun to shoot.
They're fun.
And it was fun, even in semi-auto. It was fun to shoot.
I don't know how much y'all have, or I don't think any of y'all have actually shot sub guns, have y'all? Any submachine guns?
I've never never shot a SNC yet.
But yeah, on sub guns, that's one thing I'm glad I've had the opportunity to be around people that have them. MP40s are pretty neat. They, the German MP40s, they're really slow firing. There's like the PPSH-42, or no, PPSH-41, my bad, with a 75 round drum. Yeah, it's like 1,100 rounds a minute. Yeah, it's
that's moving.
Oh, it's fun, but it's more controllable than the MP40 that shoots slower.
Really? Yeah. See, I would think you could kind of get a rhythm with the slow. You could really get a rhythm and just drop it back down if you shot it enough. I guess you could get
like I
used
said,
to
the PPSH-41 with a high rate of fire, it seemed like it was more controllable.
Okay.
But I like shooting it in burst. It was fun. Shot MP5s full auto. They're fun as shit.
I'm really intrigued by anything burst fire. Like, I honestly, I would take a burst fire over a full auto.
Oh yeah, but you got to shoot them if you want to shoot them effectively. You got to shoot them in burst.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get on it and let off. Get on it and let off.
Well, that's just like people talk about these binary triggers. I think a 3-round burst would be more effective than the binary.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've shot your binary trigger. Yeah. Now, I mean, I like it. It does take a little bit to get used to. It's not quite as
you gotta find that rhythm.
You gotta find the rhythm. It's not as, I grab it and I did just go with it and I'm gonna do it. No, I mean, there is a certain rhythm and pattern to it. You don't want to hold the trigger down too long or release too quick. I mean, there's a pattern to it, but if I could get my hands on something with a 3-round burst, in a heartbeat, I would be all over that.
Right.
And get ready to pay a lot.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's an investment. That's like a house. Getting close to that to buy a machine gun lower for.
But so much fun. I think it'd be worth it. It would be worth 45.
That would be an investment. It will never depreciate in value.
A lot of there's been a lot of talks, and we actually have a candidate running for president right now that wants to.
If we could abolish the ATF, we could get
rid of the NFA. But the biggest people now are the people that actually have NFA Class 3 machine guns who have these imaginary inflated values of,
because nobody can get their hands on them when that's not, realistically the value's not there. And if they ever did do away with the NFA and the ATF,
it'd be over with and over.
Those guns' value is instantly just zilch.
Yeah, that might be a reason as to why a lot of that hasn't come to pass, is because you've got the people that own that sort of thing are boomers. Well, I'm just saying that they have a lot of money, they have a lot of influence, they have a lot of power.
Yeah.
If you want to retain your investment, it would be in your best interest to not allow it to be devalued.
And if you've gone that far into it, you don't have just one.
No.
You don't.
You're sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. So you're running the risk of losing $500,000 or more with a stroke of a pen, or more. Easily. But they're fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're that fun. They're not that practical. I mean, even in the military, they don't necessarily.
Well, and that's why I'm for the burst fire.
A lot of them are collectability standpoint. That's mine.
That's your cup of tea.
I mean, if you could have like a submachine gun or
a grease gun, and
or
I want a grease gun.
See,
I'll tell you, since I sit there and study stuff like this, actually, right now, if you look at some of these auction sites and stuff, the value and prices of belt-fed registered machine guns are actually going down.
Really?
Yes. It's because, like your Vickers guns, your Maxim guns, like these large...
That you'd mount on top of an old mill Jeep or something.
No, or just like the ones that are have the mounts and the shields, is because people don't have the room or they're just too bulky.
That's true. They do take up room. I mean,
where do you even find the place that you go shoot that at? I mean, that's a lot of effort and space.
A lot of room.
What's that range called outside of Concord?
True.
You can go shoot there. I'm sure whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't mind.
No, absolutely not.
What's the tactical?
Texas Tactical.
Texas Tactical, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
I mean, you got a mile-long range. Why not go out there?
Yeah, Texas Tactical Training Center.
See,
out of True, yeah. Put a plug in there.
I'm sure he would appreciate.
Don't worry about it, Brandon. You don't owe us anything.
But
Yeah, we're not. Nope, not a sponsor. Hashtag not a sponsor.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. But you know, it would be cool. You know, you have like 2-gun and 3-gun matches. How about having, you know, people are wanting to do pistol caliber carbine matches now. Well, how about subgun matches? Subgun match would be fun.
You kind of there for a little bit took an interest in the cowboy action, right? I mean, you kind of dipped into it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you really got into it. You kind of, it wasn't necessarily for you, but I know it crossed your mind.
Yeah, but I think it's just like any other hobby. You know, the initial setup. I mean, I have the guns to do, but
the costumes, the name. I know you struggled to come up with a name.
The costumes, the like the leather gear. You know, I just.
Oh, you already have the leather gear, don't you?
No. I have some, but no. I mean, if they be all right with me with a whole single action army and Uncle Mike's holster.
What's so funny, Zach? Why are you laughing, bud?
He's got all his leather
Please
gear.
share.
What kind of leather gear you got?
I got a lot of it. I got more latex gear now.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Let's
he
get
went
right
there.
into this.
BDSM 2-gun match.
Now who's in trouble?
Yeah.
Finally, it's not me.
Oh, Gimp Pimp, you know.
Yeah.
That could be your name. You have your name now to do cowboy action. The Gimp Pimp. I like it. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Can we sponsor you? I'll sponsor you at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to.
3 Guys, 1 Bullet podcast proudly sponsors the Gimp Pimp. In our cowboy action match shooting. There he goes.
I mean, you've got the mustache and the beard for you. I mean, I think you could do it, man.
Maybe.
A little quicker on the draw than we'd like to hope.
Oh.
Getting in trouble.
Well, let's move on to.
It's just playing.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. It's all good. So anyway, I guess we could move on to the story that kind of started this podcast really because we kind of all got together on it, and that was when I bought my first AR. So,
Which was both, it was kind of a boat moment. It was a happy day, and then after you got into it, it was a sad day.
Okay. So I bought my first AR-15. Is a upper and lower combination. The upper is an HM Defense 12.5 pistol, and the lower is a Palmetto State Armory pistol lower with a SBA3 brace and Magpul stealth gray furniture. I seen this upper and I like weird things. Like I'm kind of always chasing that like strange combination of things, and this has like a crazy bolt. Their HM Battle Ready bolt is like done different. It's where the cam pin doesn't go all the way through. You can see some pictures here if y'all want to look at it of this bolt. Such, Double Aught Such off YouTube, he did a special on it, and he really did sell me on like all the features and stuff of this upper, and I thought, well, I could save, you know, a couple $100 if I got a Palmetto lower and got everything I want on that lower. This upper basically had everything I could have ever wanted. I wanted a 12.5-inch barrel. The gas block and the barrel are one solid piece, so there is no gas block walking off or anything like that. It will never walk off. It is one piece. It's called the Monoblock Barrel, and that's one of the features that I liked in this is because the bolt is supposed to be super strong, and then the barrel and the gas block are one solid piece, and it just looks cool. It's weird. It's mid-length gas system. I mean, it's got a 1 1/8 twist barrel. I love this thing. I fell in love with all the specs on it, and it was just so strange that I was like, I gotta have that because it's just like me. It's different, it's weird and stuff. So for the longest time, I've been kind of anti-AR. Y'all ever met anybody like that? Mm-hmm. I have an SU-16C, and for the longest time, I thought that was good enough, you know. But it's plastic, and it's never really kicked it up like I thought it was. When I was a kid, I bought it and I liked it for a long time, but as time's gone on, I just didn't feel American enough. My wife looked at me one day and she said, "You're the only guy I know that doesn't have an AR-15."
She gonna pull your man card.
She did. She pulled my man card hard, and I was on the fence about what I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy a new 22. I wanted to buy a suppressor. I didn't know what I wanted, but when she told me that, I was like, I'm all in. Fuck it. I'm gonna get the AR that I want. I saved up a ton of money, and I finally purchased it. I got about what do we say, about $900 into it total. I got a good deal on it. Right now they're on sale for $100 more than what I paid for it, and they say their MSRP is $745. Normally I think they're running about $699. I think I've seen on a normal day before this crazy pandemic thing happened and everybody was buying everything. So I know that was a long intro, but that's kind of how I got it. Anyway, so even to get into buying the damn thing was weird. So when I went to go HM Defense's website, and then I got a number that I called for a dealer that they in Texas, and I called this dude up and I left him a message saying I'm interested in this, you know, give me a call back whenever you have a chance. And he did call me back, but he wanted me to buy $600 worth of fucking stickers because he didn't have the icon or whatever on his website, and he wanted me to buy $600 worth of stickers. What? And that I would know, that he would basically know that I'm buying the gun, not the stickers. And they were like $1 each for all these stickers. And I was about to do it, but something just told me like this is weird, you know.
Wait. So instead of buying the gun, he wanted you to buy stickers.
Yes, like off the website.
Wait, so he wanted you to buy the stickers instead of buying the upper.
Yes, I would be purchasing the stickers, but he would know that I was buying the gun, not the stickers, basically.
You mean the upper?
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds shady.
And I started and I was like,
why were you looking for somebody in Texas to...
I just called that number and said there was a dealer in Texas. I might be close enough to go buy it or something like that. So I just called their number. Right. They don't really have an order it on the website thing. You have to call their number and ask them and place an order to get it off. It's weird. I don't know why they don't have a purchase here thing with HM Defense, but they are a legit company. I did get my upper. I didn't buy it from this guy. So the way that story breaks down, I know this is a long story, but this is a very complicated thing that happened over like 3 weeks. So I call him and I say basically no. So I ended up calling the main number at their website, and I got a hold of a guy who ended up being their plant manager. And he said, don't worry about that. We'll send you one, you know. I gave him all my information, gave him my money over the phone. He sent it to me. So I had it, but you get busy and I couldn't go out and shoot it right immediately.
Yeah.
Now, before I even shot it though, I painted it.
Yes.
Like
amazingly, by the way.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Pat me on the back.
It's pretty badass.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Available for paint if anybody wants me to paint. I love to do that. So I painted it. I had it all ready, and I go out to my grandpa's land, and I chamber around, and I post on Snapchat. You know, I'm getting hype. You know, it's about to go down. You know, I pull the trigger, and I had thought this might be a possibility. I didn't know this was a thing, but in the back of my head, I thought this might be a possibility where if they didn't drill that hole right, because this whole thing, the barrel, monoblock, the barrel, the gas port, it's got to be done right, because if there's no hole, there's no cycle. You can see where I'm going with this. I shoot, and
you've got a badass single shot AR.
Yes. It does not cycle at all. It does not cycle. It won't run for anything. I tried it over and over. I'd rack the slide, pull the charging handle, do whatever I had to do. It would chamber and fire, fine. Nothing would go, but it wouldn't eject. The bolt wouldn't cycle. Nothing would happen. So I called a few friends, and I'm like, I'm having this issue. I called Taylor.
Yeah.
And you suggested that it might be that my buffer tube was too heavy or not heavy enough or something.
Well, I thought buffer. I didn't think that, I didn't know it was a monoblock when you called.
At the time.
And explaining this upper
what
receiver
a monoblock is
nearly impossible to do because it's so weird. If I went to Superior after this and I tried to explain to them like, hey, I'm having this issue, and it was like a nightmare to try and get them to understand like what I'm talking about.
Well, half of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. But I think you ended up, all three of us,
yeah,
were at my house, and we went to my.
So I called a few friends after that. Well, by the time I called them, they didn't know what was going on. I had one friend suggest maybe that it's not going fully in the battery. You might have to work the bolt in to where like tolerance is clear or something like that.
It's slick. I mean, I've racked the slide. It's smooth.
Yeah, so I did that a few times. I couldn't get it to cycle. I mean, I was hitting the target. I shot him like spaghetti squash I had out there, and it hit it, but it was like nothing. So that's when y'all invited me to dinner that night, and I'm like, I'm bummed. I was so mad that whole day.
You were, yeah.
Well, I would too. I mean, you drop $1,000 on a single shot rifle.
Yeah, well, it wasn't supposed to be a single shot rifle. I was mad. So when I get home, I'm looking down the bore of this thing and I can't see a hole.
Well, we took it to the hack. Well,
we stripped it down in the garage.
Eventually, when I got it to y'all's house, we broke it apart. There is no hole.
No.
Now, preface this. After this, I called the guy, and we've worked it out since then. There's a happy ending to this story, so I don't want to get in. But when we looked at it, we couldn't find.
There was not a gas port drilled.
There was no hole. There was no hole.
It was just not. I mean, it would have been a great 300 blackout.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But, no cycle-y. So I was bummed. The next morning, I called HM Defense. I think his name is Clint, who I spoke to. And I told Clint what was going on. He was a very nice man. And he informed me that not only was he the general manager of this place, that he was basically the owner of HM Defense. And it upset him very much that this had happened. So I said he was going to send me just a full replacement upper. Just send me back the upper you got. We'll send you back a whole new upper, and we'll go from there. And I was like, I have a problem. I've already painted this thing. You know, what am I gonna do? And he's like, oh, no problem. Just here, instead of doing that, just take the bolt carrier group out of it, keep that, and send it back to us. We will send you one with a new bolt carrier group in it, so that you can just keep that bolt carrier group, have an extra bolt carrier group for your truck. And it was kind of funny. I was like, all right, I'm kind of over a barrel here. I want this thing. You don't want to buy something and it not run. So I went to UPS, and I swear I got this thing delivered through UPS, which is fucking nuts. You know that they will sit a $600, $700 part on your shelf without no reason. And I got it through UPS, and they don't know what the fuck they have, because they don't know what the hell's in these boxes. I went up to the girl at the counter and it's like, I need to send this. I printed out their shipping label and I was going to send it to their store. And she's like, is it a gun? And I'm like, no, it's metal parts. And she's like, okay, whatever. And
it ain't none of their business anyway.
It's not. And I was like, I called him and I called the guy and I was like, hey, they're giving me the third degree about this being a gun. And I was like, it's not a gun, it's just the upper receiver. And he's like, don't worry about it. We use UPS all the time. They just don't know what they're talking about. And things like so. If you ever get spooked off of UPS, they're literally ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about.
Taylor and I have chased down the mail lady, the United States Post, because she had my upper and didn't realize it was in the truck apparently. But while I was watching that delivery, I didn't want to lose out on a $600 upper, and you had to sign for it. But
yeah, they didn't want me. They didn't sign for it. I figured it would be something, but I came home and there's $700 sitting right there on my porch. I mean, I live in an apartment complex, and anybody can just walk up and just take it.
But I think that's pretty.
But it's not their fault. I'm not.
Your wife, buys $700 worth of stuff on Amazon and has it delivered every day. But it comes before your work.
So anyway, they got it. It took them about a week or so to turn it around. He complimented me on my paint job, which I thought was nice, but I thought he was buttering me up a little bit.
Yeah. So you got a free bolt out of the deal,
yes,
basically.
I did get a free bolt out of it.
Okay. Then you'll sell me for $40.
Oh, fuck no.
But it was free. I thought we were bros, man.
We are bros. We're not that good of bros. I don't know what I'm going to do with that bolt.
Got enough to build another AR.
Yeah, basically that's basically half of the damn gun.
You might as well do a blackout pistol, Jordan Club.
I'm thinking about
blackout upper.
Yeah, just swap your uppers.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a different caliber upper, possibly a blackout upper. Blackout's just so expensive. when it comes down to shooting cheap. I bought that. I got that single shot blackout.
There's a lot of steel case options now in blackout. We were just talking about that today because
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I've got several hundred rounds that I could load up, because I reload.
But Barnell, whoever the Russian, they're importing 300 blackout steel case.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's news to me.
So that's what we were talking about today because I was like, it's hot outside. I don't feel like going to the garage and loading nothing up. So I swung in and grabbed 100 rounds. And it cost me $110, I think, for the 100 rounds. It's Hornady ammo, but I'll shoot steel case. I'm not above it.
No.
What the meme that's going around right now is if it can't take the steel, it doesn't deserve the brand.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going to build a gun and you're going to put $1,000 or more into it, it should be able to shoot whatever the hell you put in it.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So finally, I get it back, and I have had no problems with it. He did send it back with me with a full bolt, 100% disclosure. He did do everything that he said he would. I probably put about 100 rounds to it so far. Cycled everything perfectly. I've had no issues other than getting it sighted in, which is, everybody's thing. But he told me that it wasn't that they didn't drill the gas port. It was that they painted over it, and that the guy that checks that hole didn't put his flashlight down there in that hole. Because when I looked down the bore before me and y'all even went to your house, I could not find a hole.
Well, and we took the gas tube off.
Yeah, you took everything
We
off.
took a gas tube off, and there was not a hole visible. I think I even had some metal picks.
Shawn ran a Allen key down the gas port. And to look to see if there was an indentation, there was nothing there.
No, nice rifling.
It would have been that's Parkerized.
Yes.
Right, so I don't think Parkerizing.
I don't
Would
think
have
I
sealed
can't
it.
see
No.
how.
I think it just literally wasn't ever drilled. I think it was just a quality control slip up, and I mean it happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna put these dudes over the ringer. When it comes down to things that happen, I'm very reasonable. If you work with me, I'm more than willing to cut you some slack. It's not like I needed this today. I'm not going on a major hunt with it or anything. Guns,
and then
but
too,
still.
there's so many people in the gun manufacturer, new companies. Bad press
Yes.
can ruin them. I mean,
I'm a welding consultant. I deal with quality control, several hundred companies. Shit happens.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
but they made it right. That's the thing.
They did make it right, and
That's really all you can ask.
That's all you can ask
as long
for.
as you'll stand behind something that you do
they
and make
stood
it right.
behind every word that they said. They did
That's good
everything
enough for me.
that they said that they would do, and I got it back and it functions. He told me that he would personally test fire that upper when he got it, and he told me that he did. I believe that he did, and
It works flawlessly.
It works now.
Yeah.
I haven't put it through no rigorous training test. I haven't done anything like that. But what I've done with it, and I've brought it out and shot it maybe 3 times, and I've maybe put 100 to 200 rounds in it, I'd say. And it has functioned flawlessly. It has worked perfectly. Kudos to HM Defense for getting on that for me. And, I appreciate that stuff. You don't want to come to some guy and you buy their product and they just screw you over like that. That word of mouth, I had no idea that we'd end up doing a podcast about this one day.
Right.
But here we are, and we're giving you praise instead of giving you shit, which we could have easily done.
Oh yeah.
Maybe 30 people will see this, but that's 30 people that'll be like, well, I heard something bad.
Yeah, that might have bought something. So sorry, Optics Planet.
This is the Optics Planet shit fest. It seems like. I've yet to.
I've never ordered from them. I can't say, but
Don't.
Judging for Taylor's experience, I mean, it's not going to be my first option.
Yeah, just from what he's told me, that doesn't sound like something I want to do.
No.
So I want to shout out Wise Men Company for their split fix. That thing is fucking cool, where it holds together your pistol brace, and I got mine in FDE. They have so many colors. They're a really cool company. Not a sponsor.
It's a nice color combo overall. What you got going?
So
on
I got
there.
a gray. I posted it on Facebook as my first AR, and it's got a flat dark earth mixed with stealth gray, and then I've got a really weird gray, black, and tan camo thing going on. Give this guy credit because I seen his painting style on YouTube and I copied it. It's a guy called Zombies RUS on YouTube. He does a lot of crazy stuff. I'm a YouTubeophile. I'm constantly on YouTube. He's got some really cool ideas, and I kind of copied his paint job. I've seen the way he did it, and I was like, I want to do that for that one. My other paint jobs, I just kind of came up on my own, but for that specific one,
it turned out fantastic. It really did.
It's kind of like that. It's like an urban.
Taylor, have you built an AR and been disappointed with it?
No.
I know you built a few. I was just curious,
Yeah, I built a few.
I mean, obviously, this is your first one.
Yeah,
You're
this is
happy
my
with it,
first
that for
try out of the
sure.
box,
Yeah, but
first experience, and I had a bad one, sort of.
I mean, a lot of my ARs, I built just the basic,
yeah.
Palomino State Armory. A lot of people talk shit about them, but I mean, those AR kits, I mean, they're reasonable and.
Palmetto State Armory is responsible for arming more people in this country.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, when you can get on it for $2.99, get a complete,
I mean, I bought my lower at the Palmetto State Armory. It came with everything I needed.
Hey, the Palomino State Armory AR-15 kit with a Anderson lower, you can't. I mean, I think the cheapest one I built was like $310.14.
and it shoots.
And it shoots.
So-
It's not a gun. I spray painted it. It's camouflage. It doesn't have a immaculate, nice camouflage scheme like that.
Yeah, no, by
It's,
far. His is
It's Krylon rattle can.
OD green.
Yeah.
Mine's a spray paint.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, but yours doesn't look like it was spray painted. Let's be real here. Yours look like somebody actually took some time and
That
did
was
a
actually
hellacious job, man.
That paint job was actually the fastest one I've ever done because it's not like you just blot to get that thing. The 22 was the longest because it's so meticulous. I had those little stars. Oh my god! I'll post it eventually if y'all want to see it, or if y'all care, I'll post a picture of my 22 that I did the paint job on. That was a ridiculous one. Go ahead.
I spent a lot of money and built that Daniel Defense 300 Blackout, and awesome gun, shot great, good looking gun, but put the can on it and it had a crack. When you shot it, even with the can, it was just a little bit louder than what I wanted, and scrap that and start over, and that's what started the Blackout pistol build. Well, that and the fact that I had a case that needed a gun.
Is that 300 Blackout that you built quieter so far than the Daniel?
I think it is. When we went out and shot it the other day with the subs, it's definitely quieter. And
I'm really interested in the AK that I built with the subsonics and the adjustable gas piston.
Running a suppressed AK.
Tell us about that build. What's going on with it?
Well, I mean, all I'm waiting for is my suppressor, but it has a K&S Precision. They have a adjustable gas piston for all different AK flavors and varieties, all different lengths, and you can actually tune your AK. You can use it without the suppressor because it also, your recoil, lessens your recoil, so you're not throwing brass or cases 20 feet out.
You can really fine tune it.
Yeah, you can fine tune it. So, but with the suppressor, because you're building a lot of back pressure with that suppressor. So it helped tune that, turn that down. So it's quiet. It's very quiet. It's crazy quiet. And then I'm about to do the same with a FAL. I'm about to get a adjustable gas. You can adjust the gas on an FAL, but I need to get a different size gas port. So I'm going to do that. And I got one that's threaded and ready.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, all I need to get my suppressor in and we're ready to go.
Well, Zach, maybe about the time for our crazy little...
So,
I know we don't have alligators this week.
No Hitler's alligators this time. So, wrapping up today, guys, I've got the crazy story. Taylor failed on his mission to get crazy stories. But you did say something about, before we were recording, about something in Belgium, maybe? About a crazy bunker or something?
No, yeah, it was like somewhere. I need to look at the article and read it fully, but it's like on the Belgian-Dutch border. The police, they found all these shipping containers, and they were like soundproof, and they had like dentist chairs set up to like torture people in. It was strange.
That seems like something. That's more of the weird side of things that I haven't.
Yeah. It was some weird. I look at the pictures. I mean, I don't know who they're
Now
targeting.
this is kind of a weird story, but this is kind of a Reddit story. Now, this isn't the story I was going to tell, but you talking about the shipping container jogged my memory about something that I've seen that was a shipping container. There was a shipping container. I don't know how true this is. I think it was proven to be true that there was this shipping container out in Australia that this guy stumbled upon one day. He was out on somebody's farm, and the guy that owned the farm didn't know where this shipping container had come from, and when it was a big farm, so that he probably didn't go out there all the time. Some people have such a bunch of land that they don't get everywhere all the time. And when they were going out there and looking at this farm out in this place they hadn't been to a while, there was a shipping container and had like satellite dishes and stuff on top of it. And so they get to looking at it, and they go in and start poking around in it because it's somebody's it's not supposed to be there, and they don't know how it got there. And so they break in, and it is like this command center of like technology and things like that, where somebody has been staking out there and they get to poke it around. It's like a child porn hub command center. It's some weird, crazy, strange thing. So they get freaked out, right? And they go back and call the Australian police. Well, there was apparently some kind of security cameras on this thing or something. And this is a Reddit myth. I think it's been proven to be true. By the time they got out there the next day with the police, it was gone.
Wow.
Everything was gone. Wow. The shipping container was gone. Everything had just disappeared overnight without a trace. So that was a pretty crazy. If I find that story, this is just my recollection off the top of my head about that particular story, and I know I feel like I'm talking a lot, but that jogged my memory, and I was like,
"That's nutty.
That's crazy." So anyway, guys, I wanted a strange historical story. Actually, since I'm such a YouTube cinephile, this guy named The History Guy. Have y'all ever heard of The History Guy?
I haven't.
He's a relatively small channel. I think he's just about to crest 1 million views. I love listening to him. He goes into...
so he's a little more popular than us.
He's a little bit. I mean, not by much. He gets about like 50,000 views. For a long time now, I've been listening to him. I'm kind of an underground fan of his. And he goes into history that's not incredibly known. Like, he says history that deserves to be remembered. So, like, not Battle of the Bulge or like World War II, D-Day and stuff like that. He kind of goes into stuff that's not as well known, like the Black Swan fighter pilot in World War I, which was a black man that I believe fought on the French side, and he was a fighter pilot, and they called him the Black Death, I believe. It's a really cool story. If you're interested, look up The History Guy on YouTube. It's really interesting. But I heard this story from him, and it's called the Ss Richard Montgomery. Have y'all ever heard of the Ss Richard Montgomery?
No.
So apparently the Ss Richard Montgomery was an American liberty ship during World War II, named after an Irish officer in the British Army who fought on the North American during the French and Indian War. And they had this ship docked in the port of London near, if I'm looking at it...
Well, it's a Liberty ship too, right?
Yes.
So yeah, they built, I think, over 3,000 Liberty ships during World War II.
Huh.
Yeah. Because they were...
You are a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I know.
That is impressive.
It's in the Thames estuary, right by London. It's in a heavily populated area. And so I'm not sure what happened. I think it ran aground by accident during a time, if I can find it.
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
On August 20th, she dragged an anchor and ran aground on a sandbank around 250 meters from Midway Approach Channel in a depth of 24 feet of water. The general dry cargo of the Liberty ship had an average draft of 28 feet, but Richard Montgomery was trimmed to a draft of 31. As the tide went down, the ship broke her back on the sandbanks near the Isle of Sheppey, about 1.5 miles from Sheerness and about 5 miles from Southend. So this is a very populated area. The problem with this ship is that it is filled with the brim with explosives. It's just in there, and it's the crazy thing is in a massive shipping port area. There's signs. It's been there since 1944.
Wow.
It's filled to the brim with high explosives. I ran down the list of these explosions, but there are thousands, and I mean thousands of just one kind of bomb on this ship. And teams of people over the years have tried to remove these explosives, but the fear is that they go in to remove them.
They're unstable.
So they could end up triggering them, which would have been worse than just leaving them there. So if you look on the internet, you can find the 3 masts of this American battleship or Liberty ship sticking up out of the water with these signs on them, and they have a big perimeter, and all the maps say don't go near this hellishly destructive American Liberty ship that could go off at literally any moment and destroy an entire chunk of England.
Yeah, like the port. But what's crazy to me is it's been sitting there so long and none of that stuff's exploded. I mean, I was reading an article the other day where unexploded ordnance that's underground, I think it was in a German neighborhood, just randomly exploded the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, so it is literally a ticking time bomb.
You have to kind of wonder, though. I mean, with that being so close to, atomic bombs and, nuclear, maybe there is something on there that's radioactive or...
Maybe.
I think they would have tried to remove that
they
before.
would.
You say that, but you really...
Well, I mean, you're talking about...
You're trying to...
several thousand megaton explosion going off in the water.
But at the same time, if you admit it,
Yeah,
what are you doing so close with that kind of ordinance?
Well, why they had that? Well, because they were shipping it. I mean, they were bringing it to England to drop off to bring into Europe because, I mean...
that was in the
That's
throes
what
of war.
what the Liberty ships are. The
no.
Liberty ships are just big cargo ships, and that's, they was going in to deliver its load.
Do they go into specific detail on what was on board?
Yes, there are specific
Yeah,
details.
I'm just curious. I mean,
How
you never
many
know. I'm just saying, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole.
That's just what they say is on here, and I'm just reading straight from Wikipedia at this point because that's what they say. But Wikipedia quotes them as having 286 by 2,000 pound high explosive bombs, another 4,439 1,000 pound bombs, another 1,925 500-pound bombs, another 2,815 fragmentation bombs and bomb clusters, various explosive booster charges, various smoke bombs, and up to and including white phosphorus, and various pyrotechnic signals.
Do they
So
have
we're going
any-
to light it up on the 4th of July over there for everybody.
Do they say anything about? Do they say anything about the repercussions of it blowing up?
See, that's what I don't know. If it were to explode,
And it's underwater.
it is
It's under
underwater,
25 foot of water, so...
but it's
Blow all the water out.
Yeah, well.
this will cause a massive explosion. This is an incredible.
I mean, it might, shake the ground and bust a couple
This
windows.
is in the middle of an incredibly busy shipping port with just a ton of airports and.
I don't know. I think it
business,
sounds like a
and
good vacation. You might need to go check it out.
It will. I don't know what it would do for American and England relations, being as that nobody can do anything about it. They didn't. I mean, what do? You just.
They
Well,
should
I
have
mean,
done
clearly
something.
we're just leaving it there and
They
not
should-
worried about
They
it.
should have done something right after the war with it.
That would have been the time.
Right. Before you did all the restructuring of London, because, I mean, London got pretty bombed pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been a good time to evacuate. But also, too, I don't know. That's interesting.
It's definitely. I mean, that's a crazy historical story. That
I mean, they're still having bombs going off from World War I.
I was about to mention that.
I mean,
I think the other, literally, I think maybe even up as far as like a year ago.
Yeah.
Somebody died from a war. There were so many bombs during World War I specifically World War I, that the French have bomb patrols to this day, where you cannot even go to an area in France where one of these battles took place because there are so many mines and
so many
bombs,
unexploded ordnance.
so much unexploded ordnance that it's literally it's a ticking time bomb out in the middle of nowhere, and that's all they do all day long is pick up bombs. They've been doing that. World War I happened over 100 years ago at this point.
130 years ago.
World War II happened almost 100 years ago. It's getting close to 110 years ago, and they're still plucking bombs out of the ground that could explode at any minute. It's a crazy amount. If you want to check out something cool on World War I, look up Dan Carlin's Hardcore History about World War I. That is an incredible podcast that you will learn so much about World War I you wish you didn't. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Guys, do you have any closing thoughts or anything like that you'd like to share? Or is there anything left on the table you'd want to talk about?
I think we got it all out there.
If anybody listening has any ideas, comments, suggestions, concerns,
this would be that part.
Like us to tackle.
This would be the part after we're done where we would address anybody's comments or anything that they wanted us to talk about at this point. So since we didn't get any, we will field it to the next time. Anyway, guys, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Podbean, and SoundCloud. That's all we've got right now at 3 Guys, 1 Bullet Podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Shawn.
And this is Taylor.
We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.